Welcome to this exclusive interview with Omar, where we'll dive deep into Tesla's latest advancements, including behind the scenes insight you won't find anywhere else. If you're passionate about Tesla, AI, and the future of technology, make sure to hit that subscribe button now. Let's get started. Omar, you mentioned on X that driverless Teslas at the event were running FSD 13. How would you describe the feel of FSD 13 in comparison to FSD 12?
Hey, definitely go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It's one of my favorite YouTube channels to subscribe to. It was really incredible to take my first driverless ride at the event. I mean, what an event to just see driverless Teslas driving all around you, carrying people you know, and to see Optimus walking amongst the crowd. But I have to say, FST 13 was the smoothest self driving I've ever experienced. It not only is better than FSD 12.5, which is quite good, but it's even more lifelike and more human-like than Waymo. There was no hesitation. There was no bad moments. Even when people walked in front of the cybercab, random people, right? This couldn't be pre-programmed in, even though this was a closed course. Even when the unexpected happened, they would have dinosaurs walking around. They would have these sort of haunted ghost things that would uh, pop up. So they had some obstacles that you could find around town as you're in the cyber cabin. It just handled everything completely smoothly, just like a human would. You wouldn't even think about it. Now, of course, the real test is going to be when we try FSD 13 on real roads later this month. From what I understand, talking to the team, and this has been confirmed by multiple people, the cars were running FSD 13. They told that to multiple people, and they are on track for release to their customer vehicles before the end of the month.
Great, thank you for sharing that information. Next, one of the key areas of interest for investors and the public is the safety of Tesla's FSD system, especially as it advances. Why do you think Tesla chose not to share specific safety statistics or data on miles per intervention?
I think this is really a marketing event, not a convince the regulators event. There will be separate meetings related to that. At this point, I just have to laugh at anybody who still doubts that autonomy will be way safer than humans on any metric. You look at the real driverless services that have been deployed, you look at the capabilities of FSD preventing real crashes all the time. And it's pretty clear that even today, software can do a lot of things that humans can't do. I mean, I think they had a really good slide about this at the event where they just showed some of the crazy things they've seen. Those two red cars just spinning out on the highway. Those cars that were driving head on into traffic. This software not only can see in every direction, it's not only paying attention at all times, but it has benefited from a million lifetimes of driving experience, much more than an average human could have. So, when this thing gets into production in 2026, there's a very high likelihood that their pure vision system is far safer than a human in terms of the rate of crashes. Obviously, the proof is in the pudding. They didn't prove that at this event. They didn't prove that they have achieved it. Certainly, they have not achieved it yet. But they're showing off a vehicle, and I believe they will achieve those metrics. They will get to unsupervised FSD even before this hits production. And they did share their plans to select California and Texas as the first test markets for unsupervised FSD.
That is a great segue to my next question. FSD rollout remains a major topic. Based on what you saw at the event, what do you see as the most realistic timeline for unsupervised FSD in California and Texas?
We've talked on your space and we've said first deployments in 2025, meaningful volume in 2026. And I'm sticking by that estimate. In all likelihood, they may not get to unsupervised FSD in California and Texas in 2025. It may take until 2026. It could even be, Q3 2026. We know how these things are, especially when there's regulators and permits involved and issues that they may not notice until they get to a much higher scale. So we'll have to see. I'm not necessarily hanging my hat on it, but absolutely, when you look at the software they have today, it's clear that even existing vehicles are going to be able to handle unsupervised rideshare. So even if you add a little bit of Elon time in there, when they launch their unsupervised service next year or in 2026, if they're late, they will very quickly surpass Waymo within a matter of days, just based on the number of cars they have, the number of Teslas that are able to run this software. It's a completely different story with the level of scale they have. So I don't know if it necessarily is going to be 2025, as a lot of people have pointed out. Well, every year, Elon says there's going to be unsupervised FSD. How is this any different? Well, it's different because I took my first driverless ride. I saw it for myself. And I walked around this event, this virtual city they've created, and I saw driverless Model Ys. I saw driverless cyber cabs that don't even have a steering wheel moving around as people walked around them and got in them for rides. Absolutely, they will do this. It may not be always as soon as they want, but I mean, look at Starship today. It had a lot of failures. It was not as early as they wanted to really get it done, but they did it. And when they caught that booster today, nobody remembered that it was late. All they could think was, this is going to change the world.
Very good. How confident are you that unsupervised FSD and robotaxi service will be achieved with Tesla's current vision-only sensor suite?
Um, I mean, I think I'm probably 99% confident that they can achieve unsupervised FSD using hardware with the caveat of provided acceptable conditions. It could be possible that you need some type of retrofit to maybe make the sensor stronger to inclement weather. For example, maybe a different side camera design that has wipers or something like that, or an Optimus that can wipe them off or something. But the cameras are designed to pop on or off. I'm 99% certain that computer vision is sufficient. And the reason I'm so convinced of this is that I have a car, a Cybertruck, a Model 3, and they drive me around with pure vision, and they're almost always able to do it without an intervention today. So it's not really that hard to imagine an unsupervised service, especially after riding in driverless Teslas and seeing driverless Teslas at the event. I think one thing we can say for sure, which everyone thought was impossible just a few years ago in 2019, just 5 years ago, everyone said self driving with computer vision is impossible. You need LiDAR. And here we are. We've now seen driverless rides in a vision only car, right? Bears like Gordon Johnson love to say all robo taxis have LiDAR. Well, that's not really true anymore. And a pure vision robo taxi is a game changer. This thing is going to be able to sell for under $30,000. That means an ordinary consumer is going to be able to buy it, and they don't need to live in a pre-mapped area to use it. This is a big deal. And Waymo cannot produce a $30,000 self-driving car without a wheel and pedals that you can use anywhere.
Next, let's turn our attention to Optimus. The Optimus demos from dancing to interacting with attendees, were highly engaging. What was your initial reaction to seeing Optimus up close? How did it feel like?
Seeing Optimus up close was perhaps the most incredible part of the event. Interacting with it, even getting to touch it in some cases, if it's handing you a drink or a bag or something like that. This was the first time that people have been able to interact face to face with Optimus. And I don't think people understand just how crazy of an achievement it is to have Optimus walking around a crowd of people on its own without a tether. It didn't fall down, it didn't hurt anybody. It just was part of the party. They had Optimus dancing on stage in the gazebo. They had Optimus serving drinks. And they really just wanted to show people what the future with Optimus was going to be like, where you have these robots that can move just like humans, that act just like humans, can talk just like humans, and you can just interact with them as if they're another person. So they showed us that vision, and I have to say, the Optimus hardware is far beyond what I thought was possible. When they unveiled Optimus a few years ago and they had a person dancing in a suit, I thought, can you really make humanoid robot hardware that's sophisticated enough to capture the fine range of motion that humans can do with their hands, with their body, that can really interface with the world the way a human can? And it turns out the answer is yes. The fidelity of this thing to human movement is just incredible. This is a machine that can really move just like a human. And you just words just can't do it justice. Just seeing it in person, walking around, talking to you, making gestures just like it's a human. I don't think Elon's exaggerating when he says this could be the biggest product ever. And I think it's going to be the product that Tesla's most known for in the future.
How would you describe the reactions of other attendees to Optimus? Were people generally excited and eager to meet Optimus? Did you notice anyone that was not as enthusiastic about it and maybe even scared?
I didn't see anybody who was scared there at the event. Granted, this is an event of Tesla investors, fans, customers. You should have seen the line of Teslas coming in, all the Cybertrucks parked there. But generally, people were just ecstatic. They were just blown away to see this. I mean, we have never seen a humanoid like this, right? People say, oh, it's just a humanoid robot. Nobody there had ever seen a humanoid robot like this that can move just like a human and can do it entirely with electrical actuation, right? Boston Dynamics, they've shown off hydraulically actuated robots. They're very large, loud, clunky, this really sleek electric humanoid. It was like nothing else nobody had ever seen before. So honestly, it was funny to see just the difference in reaction between people who were there and saw these driverless cars, rode in these driverless cars, interacted with these robots, watch them move, watch them dance, watch them serve drinks, watch them just interact with the guests, do gestures, and be part of the party. It was really, I think, an event where you really had to be there to understand what the company was presenting. And they showed us what their vision of the future is. They showed us the world they wanted to build. And it was a vision that I think everybody there was incredibly excited about. The Optimus area had to be the most crowded area of the event.
If you had to choose one way Optimus could be improved to better connect with people and integrate into society, what would it be?
Huh. That's an interesting question. I would say maybe uh, give it a screen for a face. Maybe that would be even more creepy. I don't know. But it could also be useful, I think, in some cases. rather than having these sort of faceless robots.
From the demos, what specific technical advancements stood out to you in Tesla's approach to robotics?
The hands in particular were just incredible. I have never seen anything like it. They were just like human hands. The range of motion they could do with each finger, each individual joint, it's like they recreated a human hand synthetically. And that was something we haven't really seen up close before. That was something that I was really impressed by. Then just the ability of the robot to balance itself, to walk, right? I mean, this is something that you can't fake. It's something that the robot has to do in real time. In a big crowd full of people, that is not easy. And I was really impressed by its ability to stabilize itself, to stay standing, even in a free crowd without a tether, and to interact with guests and do that all on board. This is, quite a sophisticated place they've gotten to with the AI models that are powering it, just for it to be able to stand and not fall over. It sounds silly because, we as humans, we're so good at standing that we don't even think about it as a hard thing. But to get that thing to stand in a big party like that and not fall over and to walk around and talk to people, it shows that this thing's incredibly advanced. And I was just also incredibly impressed by the number of Optimus there. There were a lot of them, and there were a lot of cyber cabs as well. We haven't really seen an unveil before where they had this many units actually there fully functioning.
What upcoming advancements in Optimus AI or hardware features are you most looking forward to seeing?
Probably just seeing the autonomous software get fleshed out, seeing Grok get integrated into the robot where you can talk to it, ask it questions, even query the vision language model. And most of all, I'm just really excited by the potential for interaction between the autonomous car fleet and Optimus. The autonomous car fleet is probably very valuable by itself. Combine it with Optimus, and the TAM is in the trillions and trillions of dollars for the types of use cases these robots can handle automatically. It's an incredibly powerful combination. And you see autonomous car companies and you see robotics companies. You don't really see many that have a vertically integrated robotic stack like Tesla does. So that combination of the Cybercab and Optimus, or even the RoboVan and Optimus, I think is very powerful. One of the images Tesla released that was really interesting was Optimus working out of a RoboVan that was a Tesla service RoboVan, and it was changing a tire on the side of the road for a customer.
Sorry, what? What did you say in the last part? I completely threw me off.
One of the images Tesla released was a Tesla Optimus bot changing a tire on a Model X on the side of the road with a Tesla service RoboVan. So you can imagine these Tesla service RoboVans driving around autonomously with tires and spare parts and Optimus bots. And even if it's 3 a.m. and you get a flat tire in the middle of nowhere, or your car breaks down and you need a spare part, this autonomous RoboVan for Tesla service could just come to you. An Optimus bot could get out, change your tire for you, and get you back on your way. It sounds kind of crazy. Like, I mean, the idea of Optimus picking up a big heavy tire and putting it on a car seems like kind of a stretch to me. But this is the vision that they're laying out here, that you have a robot that could really do tasks that a human could do. And it's really crazy to think about the synergies there with these two things working together. A RoboVan filled with Tesla service parts, plus an Optimus bot that can actually go ahead and install it for a customer right there on the road.
How critical do you think Giga Texas Cortex will be to the development of FSD and Optimus?
It may be the most critical piece of the puzzle. Um, the expansion of training compute is just something that puts wind in the sails of their development efforts in any way. If you want to look at one metric that directly translates into the speed at which they will achieve driverless FSD, it's the build out of compute. So I don't think we've seen the full impact yet of what that Cortex cluster is going to bring to the table. And it should be online this quarter and producing models this quarter. Once it turns on, they're going to be able to train larger models, up to 8 times larger, that are designed specifically for the AI4 chip. So this Cortex cluster not only gives the team a lot of extra compute to work with, it also marks the start of AI4 specific models, which should give us another large jump in performance.
Thank you, Omar. And the last question is on the Tesla stock price. In the first trading day following the event, the Tesla stock dropped by 9%, as the event showed off ambitious tech but did not dive into specifics. What metrics or milestones do you think will most impact Tesla's valuation over the next year or two?
I think worrying too much about the near term movements of the market are a great way to miss out on amazing long term value creation. People are making trades, there's things going on in the market. When the stock goes down after an event like that, where I took my first driverless Tesla ride, I interacted with Optimus for the first time, I say, thank you, Mr. Market. Thank you for the opportunity to buy these shares at a discount. I think this should be probably today a fair value would be a $300 to $400 stock. People clearly don't believe that this vision is real. They don't think it's near term enough to price it in, but they have outlined a more ambitious and powerful vision of the future than any other tech company out there. More powerful than Apple with its new camera button, bigger than Google with their new AI models. This is, I mean, just look at what the global labor market is worth. Look at how much people are paying for all kinds of different forms of labor. Think about the expansion of GDP. They outlined a plan here to become the most valuable company on earth. And the market is very short term focused, and Elon is very long term focused. There's an opportunity here for investors who have a long time horizon and are patient, but Wall Street is not going to give them credit for it until they can see it on the P&L. And that's okay. They didn't do this for Wall Street. They didn't do it to try and pump the stock, which is what most companies would do. They'd really focus on short-term things. This is really about showing off a vision of the future to the public. It wasn't a technical event. It wasn't an investor event. It was a vision of the future for customers. And it's a vision that people can buy into today. At the event, we didn't just see cyber cabs driving around driverlessly. We saw Model Ys too. And the first driverless cars are going to be Model 3 and Model Y. Elon confirmed that existing Model 3 and Model Y and Cybertruck will be able to join the Tesla network. So I think honestly, the point they should have hit home on more is go to Tesla.com and buy this. Start using supervised FSD today, and we'll give you 0% APR if you buy a car with FSD. That, I think, is the real story here. And people who think this is just something that is years out are probably not aware of how many people have just had their life completely changed by the version of FSD that's shipping today.
Thank you, Omar. Always a pleasure. Chat next time.
Take care.